Hey you guys, how's it going? It's MJ from I UNPLUG. How are you? Welcome to I UNPLUG TV. I talk a lot about paradigm shift, quantum leap in human evolution, and ultimately a total shape shift of our human consciousness field. So in essence, humanity is like awakening to a greater power and a more evolved perspective. Perspective of unity, so like basically our perception that like we're all connected here and we're all one versus we're all separate. Sometimes when I think of like the military complex and the war cycles on this planet, it like, I don't know, the human condition fascinates me because people, and we kind of go around like we proclaim civility, like we talk about our culture as like modern civilization, you know, dignified civility, nobility. And to me, there is nothing dignified about war, you know, because what we stare down in the face when it comes to our war cycles on this planet is like, we have to own up to the fact that we've not been able to get along with each other, that we've shared this planet, and due to our fear or ego or whatever, we've been killing each other, you know, for a really long time. And to me, that's like the ultimate thing that we're wanting to address, or like the fundamental, you know, the hatred, the contempt, the resentment, the bitterness. And so often those of us who feel really deeply, we have this experience of just being ridiculed by people in the world and being told that, you know, we're too sensitive or not enough and all this. And to me, ultimately, it's the only way out. Facing our fears and our feelings and owning them is our only way out. You know, we can't keep blaming and attacking each other. We can't keep just dropping bombs because we can't get along, or we can't access people's oil, or we can't whatever. As in, we could all just carry on pointing fingers. We could all just carry on never being responsible. But where has that gotten us? You know, where has that level of consciousness gotten us? Really, that level of consciousness has gotten us to this point where we appear to be in absolute crises. Absolute. Not only are we destroying each other, not only are we raping the planet of resources, but we are denying it as well. And then we go around pretending like we're, yeah, life is great, but our countries hate on each other. You know, we proclaim talking about love and light, and then in the next breath we deny someone else's humanity or existence. And so I guess this is like a noodling of this paradigm shift. What is it exactly? You know, what the fuck is going on this planet right now? Does anyone have any answers or any real solution? And ultimately, the spiritual teachings are saying, yeah, but you only have them for your life. You only have the answers for your existence. You only have the ability to navigate your creative field in unity with other. That's part of the paradigm shift, I would say, is like, so you get to know, so you unlearn the learning of 3D reality, and then you ultimately heal separation through the unlearning and the atonement, which is an incredibly deep and emotional thing. And then possibly have a few dark nights of the soul, and then eventually it's just this pure awareness. You're just your awareness of existence. And that's, I would say, an aspect of the unfolding, and then the apparition and or manifestation of quantum leap, of going from one frequency to another frequency. That's the evolution of consciousness. The 3D paradigm would make us think that we have to control or dictate or somehow tell the story of the evolution of consciousness. And yes, that's probably, of course it's true, because that's what I'm doing. That's what we're all doing. We're telling a new story of this paradigm shift, right? Ooh, that's very cool. Just made me realize how much we are in dominion of this, you know? And yet it's weird. It's all weird and paradoxical outworking it, because we're so programmed to the other. Like, we're so programmed to the fear of not, you know, like, 3D reality. And then those of us are like, wait a minute, what is this 3D? And like, and then fear, transform. And then, you know, we're here on the other side of this paradigm shift going, hey, isn't that a wild ride? However, we're alive and we're well. And so it's nice to share the journey with people as and when they're ready to take it. And something I've known intuitively, and now I'm actually directly experiencing, is that those of us who it's been maybe a long time coming, it's happening faster for more and more people. So our intuitive awareness is being affirmed by our creative field that's now in manifestation. So yeah, it was always my awareness that even though it took me 15 years to outwork a lot of the stuff and then be able to discern and or deduce a sort of process with regards to this transformation, now I'm witnessing, you know, people I'm working with or people joining the community and doing the self-work, they're shifting stuff that might have taken me like a 7-year cycle. They're shifting it in like 6 months, or jumping a whole bunch of like loops. So like, yeah, things that maybe took me like 4 or 5 years to noodle out, it's happening instantaneously for them. It's the acceleration in the exponential growth phase, right? Hi E, hey Shaw, hey. How's the yoga training? It's very exciting. Yeah, and I guess that's the polarity of evolving into eternal love, right? Is the divinity path. That's the light worker in essence, is the divinity. The path of divinity, walking in your truth, walking in your light, right? Hi E, did I say that already? Oh, so good. Yay, Alf. I know that. I feel that. It's like, yeah, exciting new beginnings, lots of good times. Brilliant. You're on it though, and you're loving it, yeah? What kind of yoga are you doing? Is it a specific? I saw there is I saw the photo of the school, but not the you know, every school has a different name, but it's not necessarily like the style of yoga anymore. Especially there's so many schools and styles, right? Yeah. And people don't which is part of, so what regarding paradigm shift, quantum leap awareness, all at this moment. Oh, nice. Yeah, so it would be a kind of balanced and well-rounded. You'll get a lot of different practices and or like offerings, maybe. There are 5 teachers, yeah. Yeah, it would just be, it will anchor you in what you need to be able to teach and share and guide. And you got a good friend here as far as like that's one of the things Katie I worked with was starting her yoga teaching career, and what I witnessed is a whole bunch of bull crap that she's cutting out that might have taken me a few years to work out. So many styles. Well, here's the thing, Alf, and that was what I got to is like there's infinite styles. Because in the truth of it, yoga is a personal thing. So there's like, if there's 7 billion of us and we're all in essence yogis and yoginis, there's like infinite styles. Because a lot of us, I think, when we're up leveling or making shifts in our lives, the yoga practice up levels as well. So for me, it was when I did my training with Tara Stiles that my own personal practice took this up. Yeah, then we find our own, exactly. So meeting Tara and Mike were my reflections that were like, yeah, you know, and you just do yours. So the way they anchored their authenticity was a reflection that I needed at the time when I was like, yeah, because my practice was taking me out of the tradition. But my fear mind had me like, but who am I to? I'm not Yogi Bhajan. I'm not Shivananda. You know, I'm not Patabi Joyce. I'm just some stupid girl. You know, I'm just some dumb white girl. How could I embody my own yoga? How dare I express my truth to the world, right? But it's great. It's really affirming in regards to your intuition, maybe wanting to step away or walk away, and then yeah, hearing really what people feel or believe about it, and then that affirms the decision of the walking away, right? And that's where I come at from all of this spirituality stuff. Even now, more recently, my intuitive tarot reading is that you just have to make it your own. All of this fucking dogmatic rules around yoga is not yoga to me. You know, having to jump through hoops of standardizing a practice that essentially is infinite and very personal isn't the way. And yet I understand, you know, I get it. But you're right out the gate there, Shar, as far as like you're gonna learn and embody and integrate a lot of information from your teachers and then move pretty quickly. It would probably be more than likely. I feel that there's a lot of other gifts that you're going to be infusing into your yoga practice, but it would seem like yoga, yoga, tarot, meditation, exactly, being authentic and all. I think, you know, as the waves continue to up level, it's just that there's certain things in our 3D reality that are gateways or access points for people. And our modern interpretation of the yoga is an access point for the masses, just like it was for us. You know, I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am and share so vulnerably and honestly and be in this authentic space if it weren't for the commitment to the yoga. You know, the yoga in essence was the gateway that healed me, that helped me heal myself, right? And it's not about externalizing and giving my power to yoga gurus or giving my power. Of course, I have reverence. I have a profound, I almost want to cry. There's a visceral and very, very deep and profound devotion and gratitude and thanks for all of the teachers and the masters that have come before us and are here with us here now, right? But as far as giving my power to others and worshiping and idol worshiping and giving a power, externalizing it to make their practice more powerful than my own, that's where I address a distortion in our modern interpretation of how these practices work, because then we're just going back into the same old fucking dogmatic shit that the Catholic Church has been forcing on the collective, right? We see it, those of us in it, we see these distortions happening in our spiritual communities. You know, I've shared that before, but I've had other yoga teachers or yoga studio teachers behave in ways that I've found actually quite shocking. And then go to a yoga class and talk about peace and love, and I'm thinking, you're lying. like just like just like in my early career back in 2008 and 2009, I, again, you guys might know this, but I got into teaching. Hey, Elliot. And Elliot's another one in the yoga world who has that resonance about these different veils, right? But um what was I saying? Same, right? Oh, my yesterday saw that. Right. Yeah, and this is the thing, and not everyone will have that awareness. I'm aware that there's still a lot of yoga teachers who do, being like, I just like to go in front of people and show how bendy I am. Like, there's people who resonate with that, where there's other ones of us who, I've always found that almost uncomfortable in yoga. Like, I don't I usually kind of shy away a bit from doing too much demo, if that makes sense, and just let it be playful and then get people moving, get people doing their thing. I'm not really there to for my personal, like, look at me, everyone, like, and yet I'm aware that people in our conventional 3D ego-driven reality, that people increasingly, with the expansion of it, people meet teachers like, for example, someone like Tara Stiles, and then copies. We want to copy each other because there's a vibrashe that we want to share, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just that the journey continues beyond the yoga mat and beyond the yoga TTC and beyond, like, we know, and there's this sense of authenticity that we're so like, I could honestly say, I personally, in my resonance field, my favorite, or not favorite, that's not fair, I don't think, or just, but like, my most resonant teachers have been Tara Stiles and Mike Taylor from Strala. I just resonate with their perspective and their viewpoint and a lot of their interpretations around the function of yoga in our modern day life. And certainly a lot of their own deduction or deductionary reasoning has been similar to mine, as far as, like, some of my best and favorite teachers have been Western women. And I did India. I went to India. I spent yeah, for sure. And I did that too, my friend. Most of us do. We kind of emulate, we copy, we pick up. We do that. I was basically saying exactly what Tara would say in class until I felt comfortable embodying my own truth, like, but the point is that we meet people along the way that can trigger polarity in us, but then the ultimate higher path is that if there's something in us that, like, admires them or feels like, wow, they're doing really great, then it's probably best that we move in that direction rather than moving in the direction of just doing what we're told and assuming that's the right thing to do. Like, just following the masses to go to these impressive schools in India, assuming that just because they're Indian men that they're the best teachers, right? And I just don't necessarily feel that. I feel like I feel like we all have teachings and truth in us, right? Oh, amazing. Amazing. Funny, Nepal's been coming up for me in my awareness. I feel like that might be some place I'm meant to go at some point. She's the owner of the ashram. Amazing. Amazing. Oh, Shah, you're gonna have an amazing time. It's so beautiful. Are you doing an intensive, or have you got like a 1 month training? Or are you doing it in like chunks? Anywho, it's good, it's just such a powerful practice, and I can definitely testify. Ooh, nice. Working on the landscaping and the gardening. The landscaping as a business. So It's funny because I noodle and then like stuff comes up and then I'm aware of it and then I'm like, do I go back to that? Is that a full thought? Like, is it, you know what I mean? But then I'm just here with you guys basically. So yeah, I feel like a lot of our old constructed realities are just being, pardon me, are just being kind of ripped apart, and we're here kind of trying to piece it back together from this paradigm shift perspective. Oh, cool. It's being built as we were talking. What's it called? Mm-hmm. Nice. Yes, 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 yes. Tree hugger, fully. So we copy as we learn the mastery. That's what I did. So I just copied. My first teacher was Mohan, who's a Shivananda teacher from India, and like he was my first proper teacher, and I would just essentially regurgitate what he said in class. But then I deepened my practice, and I started to, I naturally and intuitively started to expand my practice. But then when I started to do that locally, I noticed that I was getting kind of different feedback, kickback, as in psychic attack and edges from people like she's using music in her yoga and like this kind of thing. And so I felt this like, what if I'm, as in, because I could feel that I was breaking away from the traditions. I knew that I was breaking free from like the rigidity of Ashtanga, and I was kind of getting bored of the Ashtanga. And similarly, Shivananda is pretty fixed as well. So I was feeling myself, and I was putting music and modern music and Ben Howard and using and fusing these like creative dynamic flows, and I'm just like, oh my god. And my intellect was saying, this is it, like this is yoga, this is your own expansive on this yoga journey. And then really it was like, it was basically like, yeah, I just took a leap. I threw down some dosh, and things lined up for me to meet Tara and Mike at a weekend teachers intensive in Toronto back in 2013, I think. Yeah, 2013. And that was it. That was my last kind of formal training, and that was kind of enough for me to be like, yeah, I know, I feel it, and I'm just going to do my practice and then share that love and share that evolution with people. And that this is the continuation of that ease and that like fluidity, and it's helped me harmonize and heal the majority of my control patterns and distorted self-loathing and hatred patterns. So a lot of us have to find that authentic truth. And that was another big piece of it, is like for I think when we resist or deny our truth and our power, yeah, we continue to kind of go around in circles until we're ready to really jump in. And I've explained this or shared this with some of you, but I really jumped in when the last big leap that I took when I ended up going to Bali, dissolving my old life, and writing and publishing this book, is that I've not been seeking external validation or information since that. Somebody projected something onto me recently, and I was like, well, that's definitely projection, because that's not even true to my reality and hasn't been for like 4 or 5 years. Like I haven't read anyone else's book other than the Mary Magdalene or the Magdalene manuscript. Also, I have to address that with some of the stuff that's coming up in the collective, is that we have to remember when the atonement begins, a deeper aspect of our healing is our sexual healing, and the majority of humanity has been abusing one another, sexually speaking. So pretty much all humanity has sexual distortion energy to heal. And so oftentimes when stuff comes up, another layer of what comes up is that you have these memories of this kind of abusive sexual energy, and we have to integrate our own abuse, whether we are the ones being abused or the abuser. It's kind of the same thing when it comes to healing the distortion in the collective, is that because there's such a core wound of separation and deep contempt and self-loathing, in essence, everything we've been doing, unless we're not, our food patterns, our consumption patterns, our sex patterns, they're essentially abusive patterns. And more people are going to awaken to that, and I can too. Like, I know in the 3D reality, we're like, oh my god, this is so fun. In my experience, as I continue to awaken and heal, my perspective is completely different now. I don't look back at my sexual experiences like, oh my god, they're so fun. I look back at my sexual experiences like, oh my god, I was abusing myself. Oh my god, I was letting myself be abused. Like, it's scary. And it's dark and it's deep. And or I was manipulating men to get something from them. or they were manipulating and lying to me to get what they wanted from me. But there was no love. And in fairness, I don't think it makes me want to cry. You know, we're not particularly taught how to love ourselves, and so we're not taught how to love each other, and most people just don't want to talk about it, so we don't talk about it, and it's actually really deeply troubling, because everybody just, you know, wants to make a big joke out of it, and actually, or people are just like, what? I just want to have fun. Sex is fun. I just want to have pleasure. I just want to da-da-da, and you're like, okay. It's just fun, because I remember how fun it was as well, and now I'm like, oh, like healing, healing what actually happened in those situations, you know? It doesn't ultimately, when it comes to the healing, for me personally, when it comes to this profound healing, it ultimately doesn't matter whether I was abused or I was the abuser. When you're healing layers of abuse, abuse is abuse. And so whether you're doing it too or having it done, it's abuse in a collective programming. It's distortion in our collective programming. And we have to look at our historical context. We have to look at how women and men have been portrayed and positioned in our world. We have to look at that. Otherwise, we can't address the pain that we're in. And then if we can't address the pain that we're in, we're all just walking around in denial. You know? And this is touchy stuff. Because for some people it serves them. For some people it's easy. I don't want to go there. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to look at it. Okay. But increasingly, I don't feel like we can keep walking away. For those of us waking up to it, I don't feel like we can keep denying it, because the denial is fucking killing us, right? And the more we just, it's a long lifetime wounds, lifetime cycles. Hey, Julie! How are you? Oh, Minuteman, I feel like... No sin. Yeah. No sin, for sure. I feel you, Minuteman. Oh, Brill. It's perfectly geometric. Minute is balancing environment too. Ha, awesome. Anywho, oh my god, Tree Hugger Dave. Yeah. This is like the movement, the beginnings of the movement, when just legit awesome people start showing up and like wanting to help, and you're like, fuck yeah, radical, out to love. I know, same, but this is where I know that we're peeling back veils. The Walt Disney program of the happily ever after construct is a massive distraction. It's one of the biggest, deepest distractions we got, because we're so desperately seeking, and then it's only when we can address that and noodle it, and it's so painful to fucking heal that most people don't do it. It's like, it was also those wounds in my own healing journey were the wounds that helped me realize that you really can't force this work. So on a business paradigm level or a functional business level, it won't work if you're trying to get people to work with you, because it's like too divine, you could say. Like, it's only those who truly res that you're meant to work with, because you can't enforce it. You can't and actually, in my personal opinion, I'm not standing in my integrity if I'm going around telling people how they need to fix their lives, or what energies they're carrying, or what they're running. That to me feel like, when healers do that, I would always get a sense of like, that's like a doctor going around being like, take the pill, you know, whether or not you want it. No, fuck you, you know. It's like this kind of work is similar. It's so divine that you just want to kind of be yourself, and then the people who align with that, they'll naturally show up. And it is true, because the more I've just let go of the striving, the seeking, better and better people show up, better and better clients, better and better friends, people that are in, and I don't have separation with that. Like, that's part of this outlet. I never felt comfortable playing the game in that regard, right? Unsolicited advice, exactly. Don't do it. I don't like getting it from people, so I try not to give it in that regard. But I'll put my hands up. I've been there, and it tends to kick you back. Your own arrogance at like, a lot of the continuation of this journey for me has just been these multiple ego deaths. Totally ironic statement though, but yes and no, because it's like, this is just a means of expression. This is not like, if y'all asking for some advice, fine, share it. If y'all want to be here, you want to be here. I'm not forcing you to be here, it's like one of those. And we can open our heart. A lot of it, remember this, it's like intention. There's a difference when we're like judging someone and trying to be like, stop with the problems. Let me give you my advice because I don't want to hear your truth no more, right? That's my experience of that, people being like, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm thinking, you should just mind your own damn business. Because they're actually fixating on your issues rather than owning their own life, right? So those of us endeavoring to own our own life, let's just stay focused on our own life. That's like the biggest thing for me as an empath that is unraveling a lot of her pain body wounds, is that I'm having these stark wake-up calls of like, wow, I've just had so many patterns running out of guilt. Like, so many of my patterns are triggered by guilt, i.e. I feel bad, i.e. I need to punish myself over and over and over again by trying to help and serve a fucked up master, right? Rather than tune to my heart and just serve her. That heart right here is pretty effing pure. So if I just follow that, which I've been doing, which you guys are witness to and testify to, straight legit, the more I just honor her and follow her and listen and heart love vibration, cry and laugh and heal and be and share, the more perfect my life gets. The better the clients are that show up, the better and even recently, faster, quicker, more, better, more in alignment work, more in alignment clients, more in alignment people, and it's just blowing my effing mind right out the fucking park, right out the old Paradigm Park. I'm like, I don't even live in that reality. I barely even, it's like the essence. This is the paradox of the pursuit. It's like, agreed, Julie, you know that I love you, darling. It's like, it's all paradoxical because it's happening inside, but like it's still manifesting outside. But we have to be willing to ignore a lot of circumstances to get through that gate, to kind of get through to the other side. There's a lot of invisible stuff going on that you just have to commit to and believe in before you manifest the other. There's a huge gate of having to just cut out manipulation and or to believe in myself before I saw any of it. I'm still standing. Yeah. It's true. It's thriving for sure. But there was, by the end of the transformational cycle, after the leap I took in 2016, committing, running for my fucking life, basically fleeing manipulative and narcissistic abuse in various situations, cutting out friendships that ended up coming out as distortions. And then you guys start showing up more and more and more, literally just since last September. So last September is when the YouTube channel took a bit of a hit, and I was able to start feeling into more of an internet community in a legitimate way that felt very real and was manifest in a real way, which then continued to usher me, still running for my life, and then I crash and burn. And that's what I'm talking about. These last 6 months have been this very peculiar phase of still showing up and doing the work that my heart and soul is asking of me, but then on the physical 3D level, bottoming out, crashing out, up until a few days ago, where my old finance car gets taken away. But again, it all worked out. It was all working out in my own highest good, in my own highest favor, to actually navigate the next phase of my life. And it's all completely different, but it is what I've been projecting into the field. It is what I've been asking for, but I can straight up tell you, my mind never knew. I might have 3 years ago or 2 years ago or even 6 months ago been like, no, 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 I know. And like, actually, no. The thought form, frequency, and manifestation is never it's like never what we think in the way that we think it. Hence control. Why it's like control is false. The idea of I can do it. I got it. That is very limited and weirdly false, even though we're super addicted to it. That's the ego of the human condition. We're like, our little egos are like addicted to like, I know this. And hence where I can honestly say that this inner work stuff is just so, so intense, because if you're really earnest in it, yeah, it's going to bring you the greatest rewards, but it's going to kill all your ego shit. And every time that ego shit comes up, you're a bit, oh, shit, damn it. As in, I was attached to that. I was hooked into that. I was buying into this or that. And it's just, it's like this idea of like being washed clean. And I just feel that. I'm like, you guys. Hello, Rochelle. Yeah, but then it's interesting. It's like the empty cup theory for sure. It's interesting as well though to me, because I'm like, yesterday I was having some weird insight noodle about ego, and I'm like, what the fuck is ego anyway? Like, who came up with it? And what does it really mean? And does anybody really know? Because we're talking about something in our mind that is technically invisible. And there again, I've actually seen people do this. It's like they make some fucking bullshit excuse for bad behavior because their ego made them do it. I'm like, really? Is that an excuse now? That we can just be like, I acted like a total dickhead, but that was my ego, so let me off the hook. Yeah? And I'm like, no, you're still responsible for your ego, my friend. Like, you're still fully responsible for everything you're thinking and you're feeling and you're doing and you're behaving. And that's often what it's like, I think what people want to deny. Like, they're like, the more aware we become as a human collective, those people still living in denial that they don't create their own reality, that they're victims of circumstances, or just be like, nope, none of us are, unfortunately. I know it's brutal. Like, I know it sucks that when your life is shitty, you have to own it, but I'm like, any of us who've risen, we had to do it. I had to keep going on the other side of all of my embarrassment and all of my rejection and all of the men I fell in love with and like wanted to show up for, and just to be rejected and abandoned and twisted and used and abused by people. You have to own it all, and it's super, super uncomfortable. And there's polarity. Like, I talk about it. The reason I want to talk about it is because, okay, yeah, I can say I'm an empath, but I can also say there are times in my life where I acted in narcissistic ways, and I know how much pain I was in. I know how fucked up and confused I was when I was acting out in those so-called narcissistic ways. So I don't want to go around pointing fingers for people's bad behavior. At the same time, I don't want to make excuses, because I wasn't able to make excuses for myself when I fucking took that leap and made those changes. I had to own it all. So at some point, when you're owning it and you're doing legitimate fucking transformational work, there will get a point where you just can't tolerate the other. I don't want to have anything to do with people that don't take any responsibility for their thoughts and their feelings, honestly. There's no point. The more responsible you become, you're just like, it's a total futile endeavor to even be a presence for people who take no responsibility, because just their energy is gonna fucking suck all the life force from you. Sorry. I love you guys. I'm having a good old rant. It's been energy. So I toned my hair. Can you tell? It's not as fluorescent anymore. Much better. I much prefer this look, you guys, to the fluorescent orange of yesterday. Oh, Julie, I love you. Amen, sister. I do love her. Amen. Preach it, girl. I'm just being legit honest. It's stuff that's coming up for me. And interesting when you start to sniff out the bullshit, and then you can see people's behavior and you can feel exactly the agenda behind it and or the tactic, because people's pain bodies want feeding. And if you've been in a paradigm where you've been feeding people's pain bodies and you stop feeding their pain body, you'll notice that they're going to have a different, they're going to start angling in different tactics to get what you want. Thank you. Thank you, Divine Sight. And then I'm actually going to a salon tomorrow whereby I may, but it can't be certain, I may just weave like a little bit of a purple hair dye. I love how like I'll go from one extreme of talking about the radicalness of love and paradigm shift and then swing over to be like, wait a minute guys, my hair though? Let's talk about MJ's hair. But it does look better, and I think I might do a bit of braid, but I'm also gonna do like one of those like festival plaits and like weave some thread and maybe some like I want to say feathers or something. This whole week is just getting ready for road trip and festival, you guys, after lying in this bed and having a brown patch underneath me. Ooh, purple, purple, purple. Yes, I like it. Good. Okay. Brilliant. Oh, you guys, I got to say, I'm quite looking forward to like us all being able to party together and go have a fezzy. Maybe there's some big festival in America that we can all meet up at. Especially if it's East Coast, like Maine area or New York, because that means that y'all on the West Coast of America and Canada and me and any of us over here in the Europe vibrashe, we could plan to meet up. Of course, we have an Ultra Love retreat, temptation retreat happening in Hawaii, one of the islands. That will be June. But I just like, I'm thinking, I'm like, I also just want to like have a party. Who is it? Is it Julie? We jest about this, about being like, just come here. And I'm like, but I do know that. I can sense that as far as like, I know I'm traveling regularly. That's my new life. So I'm like, I might just have to do like a month in the West Coast, do a few weeks in Oregon, a few weeks in Seattle, and then it might be that I go over to Dallas and then I go to Montana. You know what I'm saying? I do a bit of a little mini tour every year, and then we can host retreats where we all get together and sing songs and just frolic about, basically. Because all of you are mega skillful. There's a huge collective, because I find myself resonating with other leaders at this point. I don't feel that any of us are, I know it. I don't feel it like I know for certain. I like it. You can stay here. Good, 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 good. It's exactly, that's right. I was actually like nudging at that. I'm like, I'll stay there when I'm there, and then when I'm there, I'll stay with him, and then when I'm there, I'll stay with her. Because now I'm aware, after a discussion I had with one of you yesterday, it's like a global paradigm network, or global new paradigm network of new leadership. You know, those of, you know, Kurt talking about the resource-based economy. It's that we have awarenesses of the new, the paradigm shift realities, and I do really honestly feel we are the ones embedding the new paradigm, like the paradigm shift. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been following my dreams all this time and actually be living them. And then you guys showing up is the reflection of, holy shit, like this is real. We're leading a movement. Oh, I'm gonna cry. We're leading a movement of love, a grassroots movement, because at this point our system has failed and our leadership is totally corrupted. And so we have to rely on one another now. Phone typing for me. Bye bye, New York. Phone typing. Where are you again, Shar? Bringing new communal and global paradigm. That is why we are here. Yeah, because otherwise you guys wouldn't know what I'm talking. Otherwise you guys wouldn't know what I'm talking about. And like the fact that, yeah, we all reflect one another and resonate. Okay, upstate New York, jolly good. And resonate means like there's a, yeah. And the fact that we resonate on this stuff that for the most part has been invisible, even to us. It's just been like this inner stuff going on, and now we're like starting to come out the woodwork, and we're all like, holy holy shit, there are others. And this isn't some just imagination, childlike, whimsical dream. This is... oh my god, this is just something so pure and divine. And like, all we need to do is continue to allow our souls to come forward and allow our bodies and our minds to be washed clean by the energy that's the energy of truth, the energy of love. It's just so fucking beautiful. It's like, hello, Mama Kush. Is that like Kush? Isn't there like, doesn't that res with like MJ Kush? You know. I do know. Yeah. I love you guys so much. And that's another good reason, by the way. Like, another good reason to come to America is because, like, the UK people are still mega slow.com as far as, like, they're way behind on, like, the environmental stuff and plant medicine. This crew is freaking wicked. I know, Elliot. I know. I know. It's, for me, I really resonate. Do you remember that? Do you remember one of those like infamous quotes by Steve Jobs about like, this is for the like the freaks and the weirdos and the... I've often really like resonated with that in my like spirit, like just my life. I'm like tired of having to compartmentalize things, but like I've always had this little inner, because then even when I went into the spirituality stuff, I thought that's where I'd fit, but then I ended up not fitting in and like still feeling neglected, la la la. And it was like resonating on this like global new paradigm level with, yeah, just all the people that have been cast aside and every single human who's ever been made to feel like they don't deserve or they don't belong, and all the people that have been teased and bullied, and you know, like just that, and being like, love is here for all of those people. Love and compassion. Love and compassion is all that matters. What you call it, how, like, just because you sit and meditate doesn't mean you're a compassionate person. Just because you do yoga poses doesn't mean that you have a heart of love and forgiveness, you know? Like those of you who res with that, of like weirdly seeing some of the most cruel and distorted behavior in so-called spiritual community, right? Which, in essence, when you look at covert narcissism and a systematic level, that's the most covert of all. The Catholic fucking Church, the Vatican, that proclaiming, these men and women proclaiming to be holier than thou, when they're hiding some of the deepest, darkest shames that the human condition carries. Similarly with our Hollywood and entertainment industries. Oh, so glamorous. Oh, so beautiful. Look at all the beautiful, glamorous people of Hollywood. Yeah, what's going on underneath that? Sex trafficking, satanic child abuse, trauma and enslavement to the most extreme levels that we can't even... people have cognitive people can't even integrate that yet. And so those of us here in this community, I sometimes feel intuitively like we're so far out front that we're just gonna have to be really calm and slow and relaxed and just be here for one another and share with one another and sit tight with the people coming in, you know? Oh, Kurt, you're awesome, dude. That's okay. And in fact, that's probably quite relevant with the energies, my friend. You're not alone. Like, as in the confusion energy is rife. and if anything, Kurt, that's quite right. I really resonate with that. If we don't know what to do, just sit. if anything, that's part of presence, is that I don't know beyond. I know that I'm doing a road trip to Portugal. I know that I'm going to Portugal. That's it. And I have a flat here, so I can come back here, and I've got a ferry booked, so I've got a trip booked back to come to the UK. But beyond the end of August, I don't have plans, and it would appear that my heart and mind don't know how to project that far into the future anymore anyway. So it's like, yeah. The thing is, I guess it's like we have a community. There's people that love us and hear us and feel us. So that's another affirmation, confirmation from Elliot there. So really, whatever you're saying, Kurt, is spot on. That you're just reflecting back like where our collective is sitting, mass confusion. Although I can honestly say, because you guys are aligned with me here now, I can honestly say a lot of us in this community are actually over the worst of it, or we've rooted out some of the worst of it. We're out the gate, we're out front, you know. It's that at least we're aware of the confusion. Other people are, one, in denial of it, or two, not even aware of it. And this is something about me empowering empaths to cut shit out, cut people out, be a little bit ruthless right now, because people aren't aware. Let alone me trying to help somebody who's holding on to some fucking shitty pain, and then have them not being able to feel it. That's dangerous for empaths, to be around people who aren't sensitized. For sure. And yet we know that their comfort zone is not comfortable at all. They just haven't tapped that sensitivity yet. But again, why it's important for the empath to walk away. If you're uncomfortable and it's not feeling good, that whatever they're carrying ain't gonna serve you, and it's not up to you to fix people. This is another huge thing for the empath. It's not our job. And if anything, that's why I wrote the book, and I've been on this freedom break. I've been running for my fucking life ever since I published that book, because I claimed it. When I published that book and I wrote down what I wrote, I said, I can't do it for you. I have to walk away. I can only do this work for me. And that I worked it out. I deduced. I figured that out. Know thyself. To thine own self be true. If I'm going to live that, I've got to fucking live it. And I can't make excuses for other people, and I no longer want to be acting out of guilt for other people's pain body, for their shame and their shitty shits that they're not willing to address. So us taking that leap into our sovereignty is ultimately the freedom break and the karmic clearing that we're all in right now. So maybe we should just embrace being disturbing. Sure, exactly. Embrace our confusion. I.e., like, someone like me, I'll just sit in it and be like, wowzers, this is so weird. I'm so confused and I have no idea what's happening. Whoa! And I share it. It makes it easier. See, when I show up here, it reminds me I'm not alone. Busyness. Okay, that is a huge thing, Julie, though. No, you're not alone. That's a huge thing. As in, you're saying for me, I mean, but I'm like, no, this is what we all do, and this is what humans do. Busyness, distraction. Let's keep talking. Let's keep going around the drama. Let's and pretend like there's no solution to these issues, but there is. Owning it is a solution, but it's uncomfortable, emotionally speaking. And yet, to me, the freedom gate and the regenesis elixir point of our divinity state, we can only get there via the emotional field, via navigating our darkness, our consciousness. That's evolution. That's how we are all evolving, is that most of us have gone everywhere around possible, realizing, seek and you shall never find. The only way to find the self is to go within and own the totality of your creative field, which, yes, apparently is incredibly uncomfortable. And we live in a society which tells us all to not feel fuck all. Or that any feeling that's beyond happiness and this, like two little spectrums, is warranting you're mentally ill or something's wrong with you, or for being fully alive. And yet we live in a constructed reality which is perpetuating illness and disease, and then having a small bandwidth of our human population feeding off of that and harnessing and hoarding wealth off of other people's illnesses, right? Oh, hi, One Hotman. How are you? I think there's a difference between a comfort zone and denial zone. Comfort zones help you rest and relax, but denial just resists. This is a great little noodle worthy. Exactly. This is what I love about you guys in this community is like what I know is part of our function for the totality. And again, it doesn't have to be direct connection to like us teaching or sharing. Just us noodling over this stuff is really useful because it's like we're just becoming more self-aware, self as one, right? One mind, one human field, one human consciousness. So really we don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing. We just know that we're out working. And then that is like, I would say, the gift of the empath, right? Those of us sharing this stuff is that we're sitting with and like out working, like discerning what energy is, like what's our connection to the energy, how are we projecting into the field, right? Of love. Yeah, up in it as well. Made me think. Oh, did you? How cool. I'll have a look at that. Okay, cool. Okay, awesome, Kurt. Lots of love, mate. See you soon. Yeah. So that is just a really nice way that we are assisting the collective, right? Because we are, how weird. I just like froze on my own screen, but I can't tell. Can you guys hear me? Are you still watching me move, or did I freeze on your guys' screen as well? Anywho, I'll start to wrap it up. You did that. You sure did. I'm frozen like, I mean, you can't see me! But we can hear you. So I basically just want to close and be like, again, we can sit with all of it, but we can also just hear or continue to share with one another how we're discerning the energies and outworking these subtleties, I guess you could say. Like Kurt is like addressing what's the difference between denial and the comfort and the resistance and the da, and it's such a good noodle. It's such a good noodle. Okay, you guys, I'm outie. It's the weirdest thing talking and sharing, but knowing that I'm looking at the frozen screen and that we're all looking at the frozen the frozen screen. Okay, all right. I love you guys so much. Have an awesome evening, sleepy sleep, daytime, wherever you are. Love you loads, you guys. I love you and appreciate you beyond. See you on the flippity floppities. Love you, bye. Virtual hugs, yes, virtual hugs.